now. Let me just start the slideshow.
So I just need to keep forwarding it, right? Like this with this.
Yeah. Oh.
This.
Yep.
Okay.
So with the little arrow keys there.
Okay.
Then once you're actually done with the meeting, it'll save it on its own on the desktop into a folder called recorded meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, but that other than that, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
It's all automated at this point.
Okay. So we're good to go. So can they hear me now?
It should be.
They should be able to hear me now. What is that?
Oh,
Uh-oh.
swing back up to. I think someone said yes in the chat. Yes, we can.
Okay, can I see the chat on the side somehow, or is it?
Yeah, we can kind of drop it over here.
It's too big. It's too big.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
If you want to open and just click more, and then chat is at the top.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Click back. Oh.
It's not letting me.
Turn it back. There you go. Okay.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, it's a few technical difficulties. We're trying to record it.
Oh, it might be someone's mic is open.
Okay. Somebody. Yeah. We are hearing background noise. You would your device. Still hearing clicking. Somebody needs to mute their device. Okay. Yeah, we don't want to do that.
All right. So
Okay.
Looks like you're good now.
Okay, now we're good. Now you're all muted. Okay. All right. All right. Don't worry about this because I know you've had to wait 5 minutes, but in fact, this won't take us the full hour. It probably will take us maybe 35 minutes max. So we're going to go through this PowerPoint, and I'll try to fill in the gaps of the PowerPoint. Go to the next slide. Is there any way to get rid of that?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. All right. Okay, we're going to go to the goals. All right, so we're going to go through. I think we're finally set here. All right, thanks, Fernando. All right, so the 4 goals of the family medicine approach are biopsychosocial aspects of care, comprehensive care, continuity of care, context of care, coordination, and integration of care. That's 5 things. All right. The objectives are to learn and apply knowledge of common problems, wellness, and prevention. One of the things you're going to use the most, and you're going to learn the most about in this clerkship is effective patient-centered care skills. We have a form. It's called the PCOF form, patient-centered care, and it's all about. It was originally created by Larry Mosh, who's he's recently retired. But it's a very good tool, and we've used it extensively for probably the last 10 years. And you're going to use that as part of this clerkship. I'll give you more details on that as we continue through this webinar. Obviously, one of the other objectives of this clerkship is to reinforce that you act professionally in the care of patients and families and within the healthcare community. This is the page that you really want to come to know and you want to visit frequently. This is the info for students page. Anything you really need to know about successfully navigating this clerkship can be found on this page. I hear somebody must have just logged on. Please make sure you mute your device. Okay, so the clerkship syllabus is here. The assignment tracker is here. And actually, you'll use that more than anything else in this clerkship probably, because everything you need is going to be right there on that tracker, so you can work your way through the requirements and find anything you need there. It's a really handy device. It's been so popular that many other clerkships have now added it. Emergency medicine has added it. Um, Several others are considering adding it. It's very useful, and you'll use that all the time. We'll talk about that some more later too. All right, so you're going to deal with common conditions, acute conditions, chronic diseases, adult and child health maintenance, pregnancy, labor, and delivery. That's full spectrum family medicine. Some places will not allow you to see OB. Some places won't have that. You'll be doing cases and working through those to make yourself acquainted with the OB aspects that you don't get to see. But most sites will have OB. This is the patient-centered observation form, and they're calling it Effective Patient-Centered Care, EPCC. So you're going to use this 4 to 6 times during the clerkship. This serves as your mini CEX. Just so that that's clear, some people forget this aspect of it, but the whole point of this is for this to be your mini CEX. And it's you can use it 2 different ways. You can have the preceptor evaluate you using this form and watching you, or you can use it to evaluate them. So mostly not so much to evaluate their performance, but as to understand what they're doing that you're not doing. The form, again, is 4 to 6 times a week during the rotation. And we're not expecting you to turn it in. You're on the honor system that you do it. Most site coordinators will ask you about it and say, hey, where is it? Are you going to be using this? They're used to using it, so it's not anything new. So you won't have to feel funny about asking them to work with you on this. One way some people use it is to just use one of the categories, because it's for each time that you're viewing, that you're working with a patient, because it's too much to go through everything all at once. So some site directors have said that that's the most useful way to do it. One time you'll do establishing rapport, and that'll be what the focus of that patient interview is. Another time it'll be upfront agenda setting. So you can use it how you see fit, but the site coordinators and directors, they should have an idea of how they use it, and you can talk to them about that further. The formal curriculum is FMK, Family Medicine Cases. There's 40 interactive virtual cases. 33 are I'm hearing somebody in the background, so if you could mute your phone or your computer. There's 33 FM cases, and there's 5 clip and 2 simple. Some people have asked whether they need, if they've already had PEDS, if they need to go over these again. I would strongly suggest that you do that. It's easy to forget what you've learned in previous rotations, and these are on the test. So I would go through them again. In terms of pacing yourself through the cases, probably the best way to do it is 1 a day. It should take you about 45 minutes, and we'll go into more detail about that. So why the FM cases? People have asked us why we use this curriculum. It creates equal learning opportunities across the rotation sites, and it teaches you to be a doctor. The cases are very, very bare bones like that. It describes a case, and then you have to determine how you would treat that patient. So it develops clinical reasoning, differential diagnosis, and patient interaction skills. You can study a textbook in place of doing the cases. We don't require you absolutely do them, but we encourage you to do them, only in that this is what the test is based on, the menu test. So it's your prerogative to decide whether you actually use these cases or you use some other source. But all we can say is that the test is made up of these cases, and so we think it's probably advisable to do them. There's been some updates to the cases where the PDFs, which are a summary of the case, are now consistent with what's the content in the case itself. It's true that some of the cases are redundant, but that is actually done on purpose. so that you sort of hammers away at you so that you remember these aspects of care. There's hard to search topics for further study, and you can look at this list to search cases by major diagnosis and content area. Also on assignment tracker, the cases are marked according to the corresponding diagnosis. So you'll see that on the assignment tracker. So you'll know where you can go for a particular thing. Some of the information is older because they update this test once a year. So you have to keep that in mind. If there's an expired link, we would like to know about it. If you're going through the cases and you find an expired link, please let us know so that we can let MEDU know. So how do you use the cases well? All right, look through the list of chief complaints. If you see a real patient with one of these chief complaints, do the corresponding case. Pace yourself and work through at least one case a day. Plan to spend an average of 45 minutes a case. Core content is included within the body of the case, and links are a supplement and you're not required to do those either, but they're supplemental. If you're spending 90 minutes on a case, then something's wrong. You should be spending about 45 minutes. In terms of, another question I get often is, if you don't see something, should you be doing the case? Yes. Yeah. However, what we would like you to do is at the mid-clerkship review, if you haven't seen certain things, to bring that up with your site director and ask them, hey, is there some way that I could see this? Or do you think we could work this out so that I could go and do this, work with this kind of patient? Ideally, we want you to see it in clinic first. If it comes down to it that you can't see that in clinic or you never see it in clinic, which is bound to happen, then we want you to do the case. So ideally, or at least do some sort of review or, you know, learn about that in some other format so that you're prepared for the test. So I would advise that you skip over things that you haven't had a chance to see and come back to them in the second half of the clerkship after you've had a chance to talk with your site director at the mid-clerkship review. But that's entirely up to you. All right, so we have professionalism awards, and you'll get an email toward the end of your clerkship asking you to recommend somebody if you felt that they were particularly great as a preceptor or even a staff member, but mostly it's preceptors who I find that are evaluated for their professionalism. And vice versa, the preceptors and site directors are also sent this same email, but about you as students. We award every year a group of students awards for their professionalism. There's a small stipend that goes with that, but it's also something that you can add to your portfolio as you look for a residency. So we take these very seriously and we vote on them. We usually get a good body of people every year, and then we have to narrow it down. We probably had about 15 nominees, student nominees this year. We narrowed it down to, I think there were 4 people. We like split it 4 ways with 4 people because we had people who were nominated multiple times by different preceptors because they just thought they were that great. And so that kind of made it clear who was really jumping ahead. Vice versa, we also give awards to our faculty so that those people are rewarded for their diligence and their hard work. So if you do have a preceptor who's really great and you want to nominate him or her, you'll get that chance to do that through a Catalyst survey. The work hour policies, I have to be sort of vague on this because apparently, depending on when you got your student handbook, that can change. So what is ever in the student handbook is what your work hour, is what the policy is for your particular cohort of people. I'm just going to have to, skip over that a bit, but it's in your student handbook. Professional learning environment. All right, there's teacher and learner responsibilities. You both have rights and responsibilities. Responsibility of the teacher is to treat you fairly, respectfully, and without bias related to age, race, gender, sexual orientation, disability, religion, or national origin. The teacher is expected to be timely and constructive and accurate in his or her feedback. Oh, let me go back here. In terms of your responsibility, obviously we expect the same from our students, and we expect you to treat your preceptors with fairness and with respect. We'll talk about this a little bit more in coming slides. If you are a little concerned about getting through the clerkship and doing well, we have a recipe for family medicine clerkship success. It's a handout, and it's a PDF, and it's right on that info for students. You find the info for students page under the family medicine clerkship. So if you haven't found that page already, well, you should have found it through the, when you went to the detailed site resources, that link is on that page. But if you haven't really looked at it, it's easy to find. Even if you need to find it really quick, just in Google, put UW Family Medicine Clerkship, the pages pop right up, and then you'll be able to see the info for students page. Just to bring that back. Okay, now, in terms of professionalism and whether or not you've been treated fairly, and you have the opportunity through confidential comments and low scoring and e-value to let us know if a preceptor has not been respectful in some way. We aim to protect your confidentiality, and so this information is not passed on to the site for some time after you're actually gone. There's no imminent danger that we're going to notify the site so that they know who you are. We would like permission to contact you. You can put in these confidential comments your email so that we can contact you and let you know what we did about it. You are not required to. You can do it completely anonymously, and we understand that some people feel much more comfortable that way. We want you to let us know if there's something amiss. That said, we also would urge you to only make these comments about serious infractions, where somebody really, you felt strongly that somebody was not professional and treated you in some way that was very disrespectful, very unwarranted. These comments are taken very seriously, and they sort of, they remain as part of our clerkship. They will later be evaluated when we have LCME look at all our records. And so in that sense, we really appreciated it if you only give the low comments for serious problems. Now, if it's super serious, something really bad has happened, we want you to contact us ASAP so that we can, stop whatever's happening or find out whatever's happening. If it's a really serious situation, we want to know right away. So don't wait for the low comments at the end of the clerkship. But if it's something that you felt was very wrong, but didn't impact you in a horrible way, it's just something that somebody said that you thought was really improper, or as they did something that you thought was just not right, but you didn't really feel that it impacted you immediately in any way, then yes, we want you to use the low comments. That said, we want you to be judicious about that, because these comments do stick around, and they are important. They do reflect on the preceptor. So we don't want any frivolous comments. Some people have over abused these, and so we just want to be fair to the preceptors too. Very often they're doing their best, and they may misspeak or say something that they didn't realize was inappropriate. And we hope that you'll weigh their intentions also. All right, enough of that. Assignment tracker. This is what it looks like. It's very basic. It's been around for about 10 years, but it works you straight through everything that you're going to be doing in the clerkship. And it's very user-friendly. We're going to ask you as you complete it to check it off, and you're going to want to work through this really from day one. So you should actually log onto this today and get started and work your way through this. If you have any questions, let us know. You cannot finish the clerkship without having finished the assignment tracker. So finishing the assignment tracker and working your way through it matters. But it also keeps you on track. And the reason, literally, and that's why we started it, because we found people got so caught up in their clinical work that they forgot to do the formal curriculum, and they forgot, to do the PCOF form. And then they're scrambling the last, 2 weeks to try to squeeze everything in. This will help you pace yourself. And what we'd like you to do is print out this form for your mid and end clerkship reviews. So you can take it to your site director, and you can say, okay, this is what I've done so far. This is what I've accomplished. And you can talk about what else you'd like to see in clinic, what could be arranged, what else you haven't seen, and what's really important. So it's very useful to print this out and take it with you to the mid and end clerkship reviews. All right, the required activities. All right, this has changed a little bit, so please bear with me because this slide is not updated yet. So you have the site orientation, which is today, the orientation webinar, and then your orientation to the site. We'll talk about this attendance review thing in a minute. When it comes to week 3, we used to do an in-person clinical reasoning webinar like this. And it was actually with the doctors, and they worked through several of the cases with you. What we found is that it caused a lot of problems in terms of scheduling with the site, and we found that people were lukewarm on it. So what we've done instead is we've taken that content and put it in a Catalyst document so that you can go into it and work through it. And that way you can do it at your leisure. It's asynchronous now. You don't have to be available from 12 noon to 1 on the 3rd Monday. So you'll be able to do this anytime once it's put up, once I send you the link. And ideally you should do it prior to your mid-clerkship review because it'll be very helpful to do that. So what we say is you should try to work through this material. It's not required, but we advise you do it. It will help you for the test, and it will help you prepare for your mid-clerkship review. So you can, again, this is not something you have to be available for in person, but you can do it asynchronously once you get the link. And there will be also availability for that hour, though, on that 3rd Monday, so 2 weeks from today, where you can call and talk to one of the doctors about the content and why one answer was good and another answer was not good. So that will be available, but you don't have to take advantage of it. All right, let's get back to the attendance review. What this means is that if you have a wedding or some other event that you have to take a day off from the clerkship, you need to talk to your site now about that. I often get these emails and people asking me if it's okay. It's all right with us. You can miss 2 days of the clerkship and not jeopardize the clerkship in any way. So it's all right with us. However, the final say-so about this is with the site. So if you want to take a Monday off because you're going to be flying somewhere for someone's wedding or graduation or some other big event, then you need to work this out with the site now, because it becomes very difficult for them to schedule around you if you tell them at the last minute. Also, some people like to take the last day of the clerkship, which is a Friday, the day after the test, and use it to travel, because if you're in Montana and you need to get to Alaska, it makes it that much easier to do that. So if you want that day for travel, again, you need to let them know that you'd like to take the last day for that reason. But again, it has to be one of those 2 days that you're allowed to miss. Beyond that, you cannot miss any days of the clerkship. The mid-clerkship review is going to be week 3, and bring your assignment tracker with you, your copy of it. That's the best opportunity during the rotation to really improve how you're doing in clinic. At that point, it's the site director's responsibility to give you feedback that will allow you to improve and tell you where you need to improve, how you can improve your grade, and work towards a higher grade. So it's really your best opportunity to get really strong feedback. Week 6 is the final exam. It's always at Thursday, 9:30 to 12:30 Pacific Standard Time. We like to give people that last day if they needed to travel. Also, the other thing you'll be required to do at the end of the 6 weeks is give site and faculty evaluations. So you'll give an evaluation of the site, and you'll give at least 3 or more evaluations of people that you worked with, and give us details on how that went. Clinical reasoning webinar, again, is no longer, I repeat, it's no longer noon to 1. There will be a phone call session that you can join from noon to 1 on Monday, week 3, but you do not have to attend it. This is going to be asynchronous now. It's on Catalyst, and you will get the link through an email from me. All right, clinical knowledge assessment. More residency programs are now using USMLE scores. We just want to let you to know that the recent increase in step 2 passing score, the last time we looked, it was 209. So it keeps going up. It's gone up several times since even some of our younger faculty took the test. So that's why this formal curriculum is important, and that you do well. There's a direct correlation we find between doing well on the family medicine test and how people do on the USMLE scores. The final exam it's online, it's a closed book, it's through MedU. So if you've had a PEDS rotation, you already know how this works. If you don't, it doesn't matter. We're going to send you a sort of little practice test with silly questions, just so you get a sense of how to register for the test and log in to MedU. So you'll get that, and you won't get the actual code until the day of the test. There are 100 questions. They're based exclusively on the cases, CLIP and the simple cases that we told you about in the earlier slide. And 90 of those questions are going to be valid. 10 of them are test questions that they are sort of testing out. Apparently this is standard practice for these kind of exams. So you won't know which 10 questions are not going to be counted. It's entirely random. The reason I bring this up is because it's the percentage that you do on the test that matters. So if you got 75 as a raw score, but you got 74%, that's going to make a difference. Before we get into the testing and the final exam and what it takes to get an honors in the course and an honors in the test, I want to talk about the evaluation process. We recently had a low score comment where someone misunderstood because the site director did their evaluation and the person had forgotten this orientation webinar, or maybe came in late or didn't see this, or maybe the site director didn't tell them, because we asked them to always repeat this information. The site director may not work with you extensively. It happens, particularly at residencies. So you may not work much with the site director, but he or she is compiling your evaluation based on all the preceptor information that he or she gets from your preceptors, who will all fill out information about your about your evaluation. Some of them do it in writing. Sometimes they do it in person. They all meet together. Every site does it differently. But the bottom line is that the preceptors who worked with you the most, their evaluation will count the most. So it's done fairly. If the site director's hardly worked with you, then his bit of the evaluation is not going to be the most important. It's whoever your preceptor was who worked with you the most, and all the preceptors together. But what is weighed the most is the preceptors who worked with you the most. that is taken into account. So he incorporates all the feedback into a preliminary grade form, considering the depth, the length of time when each faculty member worked with you. And then he sends that, or she sends that to us. We put in the final exam grade, and then we determine the final grade ultimately. Student evaluations are based on 12 scoring categories. This also is on the clerkship website. It's on the info for students. It's on the info for faculty. So you can obviously go there, see these things. These are the categories. Final exam is just one of these categories. So you can get a high honors on the final exam and not an honors, but still get an honors in the clerkship easily. These are the feedback and this is the feedback and evaluation form. We have this so that the criteria is like when they decide to give you a 4, or they decide to give you a 5, or they decide to even give you a 3, that they have some parameters for determining whether or not you're a 3, 4, or 5. So these grading anchors are again on the info for students page, but they're also for the info for faculty page. And all our faculty are told to use these anchors as the way of evaluating you in terms of giving you what score for each category. All right, so the final exam scores, to get to that, 80% and above is a 5, essentially honors. 75% and above is a 4. 65% and above is a 3. Less than 65 is a 2. You need to score at least 75%, which is high honors, to get honors. If you score below that, that will eliminate you from being able to get honors for the clerkship. Ultimately, you need to get 10 5s to get honors for the clerkship, or 10 4s to get honors to get high pass. 10 scores of 4 to get high pass. Okay, at least 10 scores of 5 and no score less than 4 for honors. At least 10 scores of 4 or 5 and no score less than 3 in any category. That'll achieve high pass. On this web page, we also have an EHR orientation checklist. I'm not sure if many of you will need this at this point. Some of you will be better at the EHR than actually even your preceptors. If you need help, though, it's available here on the site. Do you guys have any questions? Is there anything that I left out that you're concerned about? If you don't want to, you can ask verbally, or you can just send me a chat and I can bring that up. Okay, sounds like you guys are pretty well situated. If you think of something after this and you still want to ask a question, by all means, I'm at FM Clerk, Family Medicine, FM Clerk at uw.edu. You can always reach me. I'm your first point of contact. And if you have any questions about anything, please feel free to contact me. My name again is Stacy Morrison, and good luck on your new clerkship. All right, that's it. Thanks.